Deep Dive with David Stendahl, where we trade without ego, no emotion, no greed, and no opinion. Before we begin tonight's video blog, please read over our trading disclaimer and remember to trade smart and accept the reality that trading futures is risky. This presentation does not provide buy-sell recommendations, and our information is strictly provided for educational purposes only. As always, trade at your own risk and analysis. Hey, it's David Stendahl with tonight's Deep Dive. It is November 8th, 2017, and I'm going to follow up with a market I spoke about briefly yesterday, just touched on it yesterday, which is going to be crude oil. The ETF being USO, and there's plenty of ETFs that you could be looking at. We've got all of the trends higher, no surprise, because it's been quite strong, and the technical rating is strong, but we've run into a rocket market similar to what was happening yesterday, where we had an elastic pivot high yesterday, but we didn't have a rocket level, and this being on the power level. So let me show you what this looks like and where and how we interpret this. So here is daily bars. You can see the nice trend to crude oil here. You can see that we did have an elastic level pivot high yesterday, and the market did tank a little bit. It was pretty volatile, but it wasn't off dramatically today. But often you'll see that this is a precursor, and then when we do follow up with a power level, which is this bottom level indicator right here, we're also getting a topping formation there as well. So the combination of the two bodes well for the market to sort of take a bit of a breather. The energy level has been very strong, which I'll talk about here in a second. And I mentioned at the tail end of yesterday's deep dive that the market was running into a resistance level, and that level is at 57.45. It looks like 57.45. So that's where the market did a little bit of an about face, and we are in a strong trend. And it's not to say that the market can't come down a little bit and then pivot back up to the upside, given all of the deals are going on over in North and South Korea, and all the talk that's going on over there that it's going to have influence, and the stuff that's going on in Saudi Arabia is going to have influence. But just simply looking at this, crude has gotten ahead of itself, and to show you just how much it's gotten ahead of itself, let's go ahead and come back here to the energy level, and you can see where I've sort of set this up. This is yesterday's, so it's not even including today's action. Crude oil being on the red, meaning it's very, very high in energy. It's moved too far too fast. And what I wanted to do was to point out that that's taken place. And then if you come to the top of the energy level down here, the third one down, energy level tendencies, I just want to show this to you as well. And what we're going to look is for an expansion, because that's what it's in. It's not in a consolidation, it's in an expansion. And what we want to look at is crude oil, when it gets into this phase, it's only there 3.8% of the time. So that gives you a pretty good, that's consolidation, sorry, let me come to expansion. This makes more sense. All right, crude oil is in this particular phase 4.6% of the time. We can see that a low side for Euro burned around 3, the high side for soybean and the CAC 40 in above 5%. So we do hit this period, but it only happens about 4.6% of the time. So it's usually something that happens, it exhausts itself, the market gets ahead of itself, as I've been pointing out, and then the market has a tendency to reverse course. So you can see that it has been very strong, and the fact that we're running up against that resistance, and we've got the yesterday's elastic level pivot high, and the power level pivot high that's occurred here. It's telling me that the market has just simply gotten ahead of itself. If I take a very, very quick look here at the seasonal projections, just simply looking at the seasonal tendencies, you can see that it's choppy. This phase that we're going to be looking at least for the next 21 days, is sideways to slightly down from where we are looking at this this being done as of last evening. We'll update things this evening, but that will only take us to a potential little sell-off and then another potential little sell-off. The other thing I want to do is take a look at just the turning points, just to give you a cleaner perspective on crude oil, and then looking at the 10 years, that if we pull up that particular chart, you can see that this is where the choppiness is, this little black triangle is where we are right now. The market is choppy, choppy, choppy. This is part of that 21-day sell-off. But what I want to really show you is that it's into the middle of December that we still have, even though it's choppy, a downward bias to the market. So all things being said, we'll see if anything happens overseas, whether it's through the Pacific or through the Atlantic. We'll see as to whether or not there's any more volatility associated with the market. But under normal conditions, the fact that the market has gotten ahead of itself, based on the elastic level, the power level, the energy level being very, very strong, hitting those support and, well, in this case, a resistance level, and looking obviously at the seasonal tendencies, the systems are going to be looking to start to go short. We did have a short position. It liquidated itself, and as of right now, the systems are actually flat. But we'll look to hopefully be able to get into another position here fairly soon. So always look at the tail end here of this other information. The trends are slow. The technicals look at so many different things. They're slow as well. And so that's why we're always looking at the tail end, the elastic level, the wave level, and the power level in particular, to give us an idea as to whether or not the market is going to take a break with any established trend. And that's obviously what we're talking about this evening. So we'll take a look at some more markets tomorrow. And I appreciate you viewing, and we'll look and see if we can find something interesting on the next day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.